there was a topic that people were asking on Instagram that I thought was cool to talk about.
Okay.
Can you apply manifestation to sour family relationships?
To sour family, meaning to make them better?
To family relationships.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I thought that question was interesting, the one with the family, like
Okay.
how to manifest better family relationships.
I guess the question is, can you manifest for the sake of other people?
No, I don't think that's the question. I think the question is, how do you manage family that you don't like but you have to be with? So how do you handle it and like upgrade your life in that way?
But they're still a part of your life. So, and you can't really use manifestation for other people.
You can't really use manifestation
Like-
for other people. You use it, right?
To change your reality, which could in turn potentially change theirs, but not necessarily. It's not guaranteed.
Right. It's much harder to do that for other people. You totally could like manifest for other people in a way. The more you decide what's okay in your life and what's not okay, the more you like vibrate higher. People either will upgrade with you or they'll just leave your life. Like
Right.
That's just how it is. Like I know on such a personal level, there's like so many people in my life that are like this. Like either they're around me and like they understand the vibe, or they're like not, like they're just MIA, like
Right.
happily.
Right.
You know, it works.
It just happens organically.
Yeah, it really happens organically, and like you don't have to be.
It's like outgrowing a job.
Exactly.
Like you're at a job and you need it at that time, and then all of a sudden you just feel like the job is too small for
Right.
you, and just new opportunities pop up, and it's just like your life changes because you change.
Exactly. So you come first. That's what I'm saying. Like it always happens this way. It's not like, oh, once this person changes, then like I'll be able to like figure it out. Like I'll
Right.
make it work. Like no, it's not outside you. It's all inside.
Right. Also, if you make your happiness dependent on another person changing, like it just doesn't work.
It really doesn't work, and you're always going to end up miserable. And like there's always another. I just saw such a good quote last night. It said like, when a lion or something gets bitten by a snake, you don't chase after the snake and ask, why did you bite me? You run away from the snake. Like
Right.
you don't have to constantly try and figure out the reasons and like and engage and like try. Like you could just like leave and like just not leave, but leave mentally, or like just upgrade and keep working on yourself, and then things just fall into place.
Can you give like an example, like specifically where you experienced that?
It's hard because it's
I know,
like,
because it's also sensitive. You want to be sensitive to the people in your life.
right. It's very hard, but I'll tell you with Nisano, straight up, like
He's the one permission.
He's the
one person you have permission
I'm
to
allowed.
post about.
Yeah, like there's so many times where I was so frustrated with him, and I was like, okay, there's like a laundry list. Like when he does this, and when he's gonna do this, and then when this happens, then everything will be good. Then like our marriage will be good. And like every time I would have the laundry list and it would compile and compile, nothing changed until I realized I just felt like, okay, whatever. Like I might as well. I have nothing to lose. So I would finally do whatever I wanted him to do, I would do, because life is a mirror, and whatever we want on the outside from other people is really just a reflection back to ourselves. And so I would then, I don't know of a personal example, but like even let's say I felt like he wasn't so, what's the word? Thoughtful. Like he just wasn't considerate. And he's a boy, he's a man, and like, I don't know. And it's his personality and the ADHD, da, da, da. So he would just never think of like me during the day, ever.
Right.
And then like whenever I would make myself lunch or buy lunch, I would always think of him, because that's what women do. We're like,
Right.
you know, so I
Also, like it's probably like love languages. I know that that's like trite at this
huge,
point, but
yeah.
it's like it's like
that's not really my love language.
acts of service.
No, not at all.
No?
No, I'm gifts and like quality time.
Okay, but both of those quality time. If someone takes time to think about you,
Yeah,
it's like
I felt like he wasn't just not. There was zero quality time.
Yeah.
Like, and his is so easy. His is words of affirmation, big deal, and then like physical touch, also like hi,
like
hi, bye, bye.
98% of them.
Right. So, so I was just like, it's so annoying. Like I would simmer. I was like so resentful. Like, why isn't he ever thinking about me? But the craziest part is I wasn't valuing myself. I wasn't thinking about myself either. I was always thinking about him. I was thinking about the kids. I was always externally, like, putting all my energies out externally.
Like projecting everything.
Yeah, but I wasn't respecting myself. I wasn't valuing myself. I didn't think about myself. I didn't give myself attention. So the more I started, I didn't consciously do this, but the more I was elevating and upgrading and started really focusing on myself, the weirdest part was, like, he started, like, randomly, like, focusing on me, and I was like, do you need something? Like, what?
And it just happened organically.
And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is really, really real. Like,
right.
I'm not doing anything outside of me to get him to do something for me. It's all inside. And then I opened up, like, the vessel got bigger.
Right.
I opened up my vessel, and then he was able to come and pour it. And there was no room for him before.
I feel like a big part of manifesting that people don't realize is that you have your conscious manifesting and then you have your subconscious manifesting. So it's part of, like, Ratzon, it's will, it's part of how Hashem created us, that our thoughts have the power to create reality. Like when Moshe is davening, right, like he wants to go into Eretz Yisrael, and Hashem said, if you don't stop davening, I have to let you go into Eretz Yisrael. Like, you can literally override Hashem's will with your will if you concentrate hard enough.
Right.
But people always think, oh, it's so hard to get your brain clear to just focus on, like, one thing. And but your subconscious,
the conscious mind is 5% only. That's what we think drives us, but the subconscious mind drives us. It's 95% of what's going on.
So this book, the Guide to Jewish Manifesting, in the book it talks about how, like, when you're exposed to certain behaviors in the people around your life, and it doesn't even need to be someone close to you. Like, the example in the book is if there's a traffic, like, someone cuts you off in traffic, right? That means that you need to work. The reason why you had that experience is because it's a mirror. It's a mirror. Because it's reflecting on some level.
And that always pondered my mind, the like, idea of the world was created for you. Yeah. I'm like, how? What? It doesn't make sense. We're all here. It doesn't make sense. But it really is.
It really is. So that's that whole side of manifesting, is that if there's something that's upsetting you about someone else, it's usually because there's something internal that you need to fix.
It's
and when
so
you
annoying
fix that,
it's just such an annoying life concept, because, like,
so,
I
like,
just don't like it.
So going back to, like, family, right? So, like, if you have family members that are exhibiting, let's say, codependent or unhealthy behaviors.
Wait, I need to say something about family. It doesn't necessarily mean that if family members are presenting triggers within you that are making you think, oh, life's a mirror, the whole idea doesn't mean that you have to now subjugate yourself and be nicer or whatever. It could just mean that you have to leave them. It doesn't always mean to be
but getting
more
to that
or better.
clarity, meaning there's usually internal work that has to happen until you get to that point of clarity that you need to leave them.
Right.
And then they're out of your life. And it could be that they're out of your life. It could also be that the way they interact with you starts changing, or the way they interact with you, you don't even notice it anymore.
You don't notice it, exactly.
It's not part of your life.
You elevated
anymore.
to another frequency. You're on a different planet.
Yeah.
You're literally on a different planet than them.
It
Your
doesn't
reality
impact
is
you.
not their reality.
Yeah.
It's the word slide off. You're not in that same frequency. Like, it used to be, like, I used to be a real gossiper. I used to love it. And, like, it would feed me, a bad part of me. And, like, now when people want to gossip, like, I don't even hear what they're saying. I don't care. It doesn't interest me. I'm on a different planet. Yeah. Like, I'm totally, like, more things are interesting now in my life,
Also, when you're internally focused, like, you care less about what's happening around you. It's like your values shift.
Right.
Yeah.
I know. That was, like, so hard when we got married, because I was, like, so, like, I just wanted to, like, talk about everybody all the time, and it sounds like it's a real turnoff. I'm like, well, we're screwed. Like, I love it, and, like, because that's how I grew up. Like, we're just always in this, like,
but also when
of negativity.
I think that when people have, like, so much, like, internal strife, it's easier to just focus on everything that's going on outside of you instead of, like, being comfortable with who you are and yourself in the moment. So it's easier to just...
You're so miserable. There's no comfortable. You're just so miserable that you want everyone else to be miserable, and, like, that's all you know, and it's your language.
Like you get this, like, glee when other people are also suffering.
It's not glee. It's your love language. That's all you know. It's like it's like, this is where we're at. Like, I still have family members that will come sit on my couch, dump their caca, and leave. Like, that's all they know.
Right.
They don't know how to communicate in a different way, and it's almost in a deeper way. It's a means of communication. It's a means of connection.
Right.
Because if I don't know myself and I can't connect with the depth of who I am, but I still am a human being, and I crave connection, then I'm gonna find the low-hanging fruit, which is, let's just talk about the person that's annoying me.
Yeah.
And that's a form of connection, but we don't realize how negative it is, and it spreads such bad vibes, but it's very low frequency. Like, that's where you're at, that's what you're gonna, that's coming but right back at you. All that low vibes is gonna, and it just regurgitates, and then you feel miserable all the time. You don't know why.
But I think that, like, really, like, going back to, like, when there's a behavior that someone's, like, showing in your life, it's not like if they do that exact thing, it's not literal. It's not like, oh, so they cut me off in traffic, so I have to be more patient, like, when I drive. It's like, on some level, there's just, it doesn't need to be in exactly the same way. It's not an exact correlation, but it's like there's commonality there. Like, that's how it works when you're being shown certain behaviors or
right. I think that everything is so nuanced, and every person has a different thing that they're going to extract from every situation. You know, for one person it could be one thing, and someone else it's exactly the opposite.
But it's about stopping to think.
Stopping to think. It's always about saying why.
Like changing your perspective.
Why is this happening to me? Yeah. Right. Nothing. I always say, like, nothing
is
good.
And not in a victimhood way. Not like,
no.
Why is this happening?
Someone just asked me today. She's like, how come, like, you're not a victim? And I'm like, first of all, second of all, third of all, what's the point of living if you're just going to be a victim? I don't understand. No, really, explain it to me.
You have no control over your life.
Explain it to me. I really want an answer. Like, why are you a victim? You either take it or leave it.
I saw a comment that somebody posted on one of your posts, and they were saying how, like, there's really only choice in, like, between good and evil, but the rest is up to Hashem.
No, he was happy to be miserable. That was somebody that wanted to accept the misery of life and have an excuse.
Yeah, it's so limiting because it's our bechira goes so beyond. We literally have bechira in everything.
That's what bechira freaking means.
That's our purpose in this world.
Yeah, like,
that's our purpose in this world.
The potential to elevate and use our brains and minds. I answered her and said, like, growing up, I saw that mentality very often, and, like, to me, it was very clear. Like, you have one life to live in this lifetime. And, like, what's the point otherwise? Like, it was very clear to me from very young, like, we could do whatever we choose to do, and, like, we come first, you know?
Yeah.
There's a difference between feeling sad and feeling sufferably miserable. There's a difference.
Well,
being a victim means you're stuck.
Right.
We're not stuck. We have Hashem. Like, we have a way. If, let's say, you're emotional or something's going on in your life, that's fine. I'm talking about people that have this, it's almost like this chronic victimhood.
Right. But sometimes people have situational things that can put them in chronic victimhood for a period of years, right? Like, it's not necessarily their entire life. Like, something could be going on and they're just so in it that they can't get out of it. I think that people sometimes have, like, things are la-di-da in their life until it isn't, right? So they're in the same way, they're almost victims in the sense that their life isn't bad, but they don't realize that they have control over their destiny.
Right. So that's
you don't have to. Yeah, it's like, and so many people live that way. Like, they're just going through life, and it's like a conveyor belt, right?
Right.
Like, they're just on the conveyor belt of Jewish life. Like, you go through all the different, like, phases of life, and it's just like, and you don't even know why you're doing it. You don't stop, and you might think that you stop to think, but you don't really stop.
You don't really. You stop to think, like, when you say Tehillim.
Exactly. It's like, okay, so, like, I go to seminary and my skirts are going to be 4 inches lower, and, like, you know, like, all that kind of stuff. And those are, like, they're not bad things, but it's just like it's a very surface level, like, type of way of, like, interacting with the world. It's very transactional.
I feel like everyone eventually has something that stumps them up.
Right. So when that thing,
like, don't worry, life will show you.
So when that thing happens, okay, so people can either, like,
like, you had that, no?
Yeah, totally. Totally. Like, that's how I'm speaking from personal experience here, is that when that happens, you have, you can either, it's kind of like sink or swim, but that's, like, a very harsh way of saying it. Maybe
sink or
it's like
swim.
Sponges. Some people are sponges, some people are rocks.
No,
right? Like,
sink or swim is it's still in victim. I'll either, when sinking is victim, and swim, it's like, okay, fine, I'm just going to try everything I can to swim.
You tread water. You're treading.
Tread.
You're,
but
like,
you're not connected.
Yeah, so it's not really, so sink or swim, I would say that people are either like rocks or sponges, and things that happen to them, either they just absorb everything.
So I was definitely a rock, but I wasn't connected, and you were like a sponge, but you weren't connected.
But I wasn't connected internally. So then things happen that force me to connect internally, like, which a lot of times what happens with people who are rocks.
Right.
That's what happens, is that they're not naturally in tune to it, and then all of a sudden it's
But
like,
even if when you're a sponge, you also could totally not be connected. You could just take everything in, and everything makes you, like, so fragile.
Right.
And you're just weak, and you just think that you are not lucky and that you don't have good mazel. When people tell me they don't have good mazel, I want to smack them across the face. Like, who do you think you are to assign that on yourself?
Yeah.
Like, you have the biggest ego of all time to tell me that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, what? Why you? Like, you're that special that you are the one that doesn't have mazel?
It's also like helping other people come. You think that you're the only one that can help that person. A lot of times people in unhealthy family dynamics think that they're the only ones that can help that family member. Like, I have to do it for them. I have to be there for them.
Yeah, that's very...
And it's very like, you think you're the only person that can help that person.
But that comes from a lot of low self-esteem because you don't feel that, like, you're not confident in them, which means that it's a reflection back into you.
Right.
You're so not confident in yourself. And that just shows you, like, exactly what you need to work on. Like, be comfortable with yourself, be confident, and know that, like, God will take care of them as much as He'll take care of you.
Yeah.
You know?
Something happens in people's lives and they can either, you know, like rise up to the occasion, and sometimes there's going to be downs before you rise. It's a journey. It doesn't happen overnight. You know, it's not like we're painting it almost like in a very rainbow, like it's like awakening, right? But like it takes a lot to get there.
It takes a lot. No, listen, you'll be knocked down to the ground before you can like
you got to hit. Sometimes you have to hit rock bottom before.
You really have to hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole point. Is like we want meaning and we want depth and we want to live a rich life, and God's like, okay, fine, you want to live that, fine, I'll smack you down, and like then have fun. You know, you'll figure your way back. And we all really asked for it, but we don't want it.
Right.
But the truth is, like, just living this la-di-da robotic life doesn't give us, like, what we're truly seeking. And every person's really, truly seeking. They just don't realize it because they're so not connected.
Right.
But, like, the amount of shoes and clothes and shopping sprees will just not fill you up.
No,
and
but they're still fun.
Of course, they're so much fun. They're so much fun. But, like, it's like sugar high. So you want it, and then, like, you want it again and again. And, like,
it's like a dopamine
once you're
rush.
really connected, like, of course, I still want it. But like it's not that same like searching for it, right? I'm not yearning for it. Like I'm totally okay, you know?
Yeah.
Relatively speaking.
Okay, we like nice things. Like,
you know?
There's nothing we can say. Like that's just the reality.
Yeah.
We talk about making life beautiful, like.
Right. Yeah. All within reason. No, but like it comes from a different intention. It just does.
It is. And also it's a form of like expression. It's not about needing things. It's about
not things
like
defining you. It's about you defining them. It comes from
like
a different
this
place.
Thing, like it's coming from a creative place.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's not about having what everyone else has.
It's all about asking why, and it's all about the intention of what you're doing. Like I used to paint, but painting used to be out of a place of survival and out of a place of like, oh my God, I need this to like live. Now it's coming from a place of expression, and it's coming from such a calm place. I'm doing the same action, but the intention is so different.
Yeah, it probably also changes the art.
Yeah, it's everything. So like that's life. It's all about you're standing behind the bus, and the bus is coming in front of you. So you have to think to yourself, why is this happening? And when your intention is right, like when you're just calm and you put on the music and you're dancing in your car, you're still in traffic, but your intention is so different.
Your mood is so different.
Yeah.
Everything.
So then that's life. Life is not about the external. It's all about how you are in the moment.
It's perspective.
Yeah. It's like a dream, but we're awake.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And changing your perspective changes the reality.
It totally does.
It's like you have two people who are sitting in traffic, and they're both sitting in traffic.
We literally had that once. We were the biggest rush. The kids were little. I had to take them. I was like on my way to work. I was like, of course, the classic. The bus comes in front of us, and we're like, I'm so like I can't. Like I'm just so nervous. I need it. And then I was like, you know what? Nothing is changing in this moment. I could give birth in the car if I want. Like nothing's changing. The bus is in front of me. I'm like, okay. I turned on the music. We all started. We had a whole dance party in the car. I didn't care if the bus was there for another 15 minutes. Like it didn't bother me. I didn't even notice when the bus left.
Yeah.
Like, and then we went. The day went on. The day went on as it would have gone the same way. But we were
a little bit
happy.
Later.
We were happy.
A little bit late and a little bit and happy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah. I guess in that moment the trigger was like to feel like I'm so in control, but like we're not.
Right.
We're just
I mean,
not.
you see, like even in customer service here, like you could totally see exactly where every customer is at based on like how they interact. It's really amazing. You get such an insight into people's lives.
So don't come next to me when I'm interacting with customer service. They're so annoying.
No, we love our customers.
oh, here in the store.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about like
no.
waiting online like the post office. Like,
no.
Like they start asking you about your day. I'm like, can you not? Can you just like take my order?
Yeah, no, I was talking about our customers.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, you get such an insight into people's lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be like our next book. Like,
we'll start like diagnosing everyone like with like their personality, like what their personality type is. Like, no, really, just are you awake or are you asleep? That's what it is.
It's really what it is.
Yeah.
Are you awake or are you asleep? And like the more life pushes you down, like it's very hard, and it's like you don't ask for it, you don't want it, but it forces you to wake up. And if you don't wake up, you'll get pushed down again.
Yeah. Well, also because you think that you're a victim. So what ends up happening is that when you think that, this is the subconscious manifestation I was talking about, is that Hashem put us, it's literally a power that human beings have. You're doing it whether you're intentional about it or not. That's the difference. So if you think that your life is miserable, it will be miserable because you're thinking that your life is miserable.
It's a self-perpetuating, what's it called?
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Self-fulfilling prophecy. Exactly. Then whatever you think is what will be.
Is what will be. So may as well take control over what you think.
Yeah.
And like change your narrative and then change your reality.
Yeah, go up. Like if you're gonna, if life could be so bad and what's ifs are always down, why don't you think what's if good? Because it's the same equal thought process. For some reason, we have the hardest time doing it.
Yeah.
We think that by thinking bad, we're more in control, but you're just as equally not in control of thinking good. So just gamble, like take the chance.
Yeah.
Why not? It's so scary. I have a hard time with this, even knowing the information. It's like, we think that by thinking bad, we're gonna control the situation more.
It's like you're preparing yourself for disappointment.
Yeah.
That's really what you're doing, is that you're like, it's an emotional like, defense mechanism almost.
Right.
Like, is that like, if by thinking the bad things, when they happen, I won't be disappointed, so I'll be prepared. It's just like, but why do bad things even have to happen?
Exactly, but you're just as disappointed, and they don't have to happen. They could, like, but when you just let go, fall forward, and like I always say this to Nasanal, I'm like, let's say we can't fail. What's if we can't fail? And when you think of in this perspective, what's if I can't fail? Because if I always think I can fail, then I'm just going to keep failing and failing because it's just showing me a few steps ahead of where I'm going to be, and then I'm going to be there, and then it's a cycle. But if you say to yourself, "What's if you can't fail?" Then what's if you can't fail?
Right.
It's the coolest thing.
You don't even have to prepare yourself for the disappointment because the disappointment
you
won't
can't
happen.
fail.
Yeah.
So either it's a learning experience, or it's a win.
Right.
That's it.
Well, the learning experience is the win.
Right.
It's not even a failure. It was it's like that needed to happen in order for X, Y, and Z to happen. So in the moment, it feels like a failure, but afterwards you get that like clarity and perspective. And when you have those experiences where you're able to gain that like hindsight is 20/20, every time you have one of those experiences, it should give you confidence for future experiences.
I think that's why after a certain point I realized, what's if we can't fail? Because but I had such a low self-esteem, I guess, and like so much doubt that I always thought that I'm failing. Like I always thought that this time was a fluke, and next time it was just going to be a random thing, and like the fails around the corner.
I still have that in certain areas. Like I feel like every area is like a new territory, right? So every time you step into a new territory, it's like a new learning curve, and it's a new learning process.
Right. So it's real life experience. But like really lately, the past year, I've just been saying this over and over again, like, what's if we can't fail?
Yeah.
And it sounds so cocky and haughty, but it's really such a life hack.
Yeah.
Like, you really don't have to fail if you don't think you will.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you look at all those very successful people in life, and it's like manifesting you can use it for every area of your life. Like in the secular world, it's usually used for money, and success. That's what people
You
tend
could use it for like your facial appearance. You could use it for anything.
Yeah.
You could use it for your body. You could use it literally for everything's the mind. Joe Dispenza did like a whole scientific experiment with people just using one group used like a whole thing, and one group just used their mind to switch something in their bodies, and then they did tests after, and the people that just used their mind, just by their thoughts alone, the numbers went down.
Wow.
So our minds could literally, like, I see it with my own life, like
there's real power.
Yeah. It's everything. It's power. It is power.
Yeah.
So
it's so crazy because we see the world as such a physical, material thing, and it's so not.
It's not. It's energy just transfused into the 3D, so it gets more and more dense as it comes down, and so we're just energy in people form.
Yeah.
But the higher you go, it just
even
gets
on a cellular
energy.
level, like that's where they're at now. They're saying there's like energy, what's holding all the cells together, right? It's all energy.
That's what I'm
Hashem.
saying. That's why
it's
you can switch things in your body just by thought alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and EFT
Because
tapping,
energy-
tapping, by the way, is the most powerful.
Is that like where you do like all the,
because you subconsciously touch the meridian points, and you're like, it really rewires.
I know. I did it with my therapist, and it literally, when I do it afterwards, it feels like someone's hugging me. It's like I get this
really
warmth
weird experience.
that travels up my spine.
Because everything comes from within, and like I'm telling you, it's like if you need to rewire something, people are like, how do you rewire your subconscious? EFT tapping, it really. I just started doing it. It's so hard to like keep the practice, but like it's so worth it.
My head therapist had recommended, like, whenever I'm feeling just like very like overwhelmed by emotion, or like just not knowing what to do next, or like just kind of like frozen, she recommended it because it kind of just like resets you.
Yeah. It just goes into that 95% that you don't know is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
people kind of scoff at it, right? There's like cynicism, right? Like there's this like, it's not real, and they're not real. Do you know what I mean? Like they're like, not that they themselves aren't real, but like they're so not tapped into reality. And it seems like heebie-jeebie, right? Like people who aren't like, I guess there, it sounds like crazy, right? They're stuck in this very transactional mode. Is that like, if I do something good, then Hashem does something good back to me, and if I do something bad, it's because I'm bad. And
so
it's
that
like,
makes me like cry. Like I want to like jump off the rooftops. Like there is no man in the sky, and he's not good, and he's not bad. And if you're going to do something bad, he won't punish you. And you're not lucky because you didn't do the right thing.
Right.
And if you don't like, you say the amount of Tehillim, it's not gonna. Nobody cares. It doesn't matter. It's so not the point. The words of Tehillim, the actual words, the actual letters. Yehuda, my oldest, is getting a Kriya tutor right now because he has to like work on his Kriya, and we hired this like crazy skilled Kriya teacher like from Lakewood, like really he knows his stuff like beyond. And he was telling him, he was like, say the letter Aleph, and like Yehuda said Aleph, and he said, look how the Aleph is formed. When you say the letter Aleph, your throat is being shaped in an Aleph. So the sound Aleph is coming out vibrationally from your mouth. Do you understand that? It was wild. Me and Asana were like, oh my God. So every letter that comes out of our mouth that's part of Chumash, Torah, Siddur, whatever, Tehillim, is energy. It's total power.
Right. That's what Malachim are, right? Like it's essentially like that's the
segula of saying all these things because we are producing it, and it's for us. It's not for God.
Right.
It's for ourselves, for our life, to make our life better.
Yeah.
When you have that perspective shift, it's like, wow, okay, fine, now I really want to say it. I used to never want to say it.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that also, like, you use the word segula, right? So, like, you know how people, like, back to cynicism, like, people are like, segulas are fake. This is, like, my own thing. I don't know if it's actually true, but I think the whole point of segula is that it's literally, when you do the segula, you're having a thought that a certain thing should happen in your life, and you believe it, and that's why it happens. It's a placebo effect. Exactly. It's like
100%.
It's like a
self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Totally. Listen, some segulas,
like folding the talus, right? Like Matzah Shabbos for like a good marriage.
No, it's not true, by the way. Well, there's some segulas that are have real power in them.
Okay.
Like we just don't know, but it's all from Kabbalah.
Okay.
And there's real significant
But is that one a real one? Because some are real, some aren't.
I don't know, but Nissan just learned a bunch of segulas for after Havdalah. And he does them every week, but it's all Kabbalah based. So once you understand the deeper meaning of life,
what you're doing by doing those segulas, you're setting intentions for the week.
You're sending intentions for the week, and it's all back to internal. So it's all for the self. Everything is like for our lives to be optimal. So some segulas, we just don't know them, but they have real power. Right. Some don't, but it doesn't matter. We don't have to know the reasons. That's why so much of Torah is not necessarily like do this because of this. We have blind faith because it doesn't matter. The ultimate reason is that if you believe, that's all you need.
Yeah.
Right? Because then it'll come back to you.
Yeah.
But when you know, I need to know the deeper reason because I'm a truth seeker. So if someone just tells me to do something, I'm like, this is BS. I'm not doing it. Right. You know, so now that I know the real deep reasons of why things are and why we do them, I'm like, of course I want to do them. It's funny because I started dabbling in Kabbalah before Nisana, and it was almost like by design because if he would have done this first, oh my God.
You never, ever, ever, ever would have bought in.
Oh my God, like he sits after Havdalah for 2 hours now, and he sings and he benches, and if I wouldn't have known that like the stuff is real or the real deeper reasons, even like a tiny bit, just dabbling. I needed like 4 examples. Now I see the truth. But like, I always think this every Motzei Shabbos. I'm like, this was hilarious by God. That like, I had to go first and I introduced him and now he's running with it. Because like, it just had to be this way.
Yeah.
If not, there would be no way. I'd be like, what are you saying for 2 hours? Like, it's just so funny. Like, yeah. So I don't really know so much, but like just a little bit that I know, I realize that everything really has a reason. And like we do stuff and it's important.
So sometimes you have the luxury of having that 20/20 vision. Sometimes you don't, but because you have the experiences that you do, you don't need to have it as much when it happens, when you don't have it. Because it's like, that one I was able to see, and Hashem decided that was one I would be able to see. This one, I can't see yet.
I can't see yet, right.
I can't see yet.
Right. I always say, like, the answer is never no. It's just not now or something better.
Yeah.
You know? And, like, when you have that perspective in mind, you're always calm. Because it's fine. I just don't know yet.
Yeah.
You know, but I will.
Right. The not knowing could be hard, but you could also choose.
It's so hard.
And you could also choose to like let it be hard or not.
It's so hard. The anguish of not knowing is so hard, and every time I'm in it, and like it's torture. But I'm torturing myself because you could also let go. But
you could let go, and you could just be like, I have no control over that right now.
But you need to find a place to let go. It's such a hard thing. People are like, just let go, and I also say it sometimes. But when you're in it, it's very hard. You have to really. I dive in to be able to have the clarity to let go. I want an answer that makes sense for me to let go. You know, and then I get it. But like to just say let go, it consumes you. It doesn't. It's impossible. You need to replace it with something else. When I was dating, like I was obsessed with not knowing and finding and figuring it out. The times when I decided to go have fun with my friends and just live my freaking life is when I was fully able to let go. Right. That's it. Right. It's hard.
Right. You mean you have to be doing something else.
You have to be doing something else.
Right. Like you have to find another area of your life where you could put your energy.
You have to be, and the more things you're doing.
Like I'm putting so much energy right now into my apartment. Like redecorating it and DIY projects
so
and like.
You have that thing in your peripheral vision, but like you're focusing on something else, and the more things you're doing, the more things fall into place.
And you fill your life with things. Like
and the more you're so invested in so many other things, you don't even care about the other thing anymore.
Right. You care about it, but it's like it doesn't overtake you.
Exactly.
That's the difference. It's like if there's something that you don't have that you want, it's okay to want that, but if that takes over your life, then you're back in that negative cycle.
But God will automatically not give you the thing you want if that's all consuming and you're obsessed with it, because we're supposed to come into wholeness. Yeah. And when we think that one thing.
We're not just one thing. So
when we think that one more thing that is going to complete us, it's false.
Right,
so
because we're not one thing.
We have to become fully whole.
Yeah.
And then we get it.
Yeah. It's like friendships, like community, family, like there's so many other areas of hobbies, passions, talents, like so many people. Also, like I think that in the frum world, especially, women like just go into this like homemaking mode, like having kids and raising kids, and it's like they're like just being pulled in a million different directions, and they don't ever stop to be like me, you know, like who am I? What do I want? And like, there's a term for it. I don't remember it, but there's a term for it, like in clinical psychology. It's kind of like a midlife crisis, but it's not midlife. It's usually for like from women like in their 30s. But there's literally like a term for it. It's almost like a cognitive dissonance between where they are in life and like who they are. Like they're not connected at all because they just got onto that like conveyor belt and never stopped to think. And then all of a sudden they're there with like a bunch of kids and married and, you know, trying to juggle everything, and then it's just like, how did I get here? Right. And it's just, I don't even know how that connected.
I know, I'm like, is she talking about someone personal?
No, totally not. Oh. Totally not. It's just like a common experience, I think.
Right, but then you're back to like the robotics of people. Yeah. Like, that's how we just.
But it's like they have so many things in their life, but it's not giving them meaning because there is an intention behind it.
There is an intention. Like, there's no connection. That's
right.
What I'm saying.
It's like they have the husbands, they have the family, they have the house, they have the kids, they have, you know, maybe the job if they're able to juggle all of that, whatever their life.
So I had that. I really had that. I had the husband, I had the kids, I had the house, I had the job, I had the career, and then I was like, this is insane. Like, this is it. Yeah. This is it. You have arrived. And I was like, no, it's impossible. I cannot have arrived. I don't want, this is crazy. Like it felt so empty. I remember brushing my teeth one morning and I was looking in the mirror and I'm like, oh my God, like you make money, you eat, you poop, repeat, rinse and repeat. I'm like, this can't be my life. Like, you know, and it's cause like I really wasn't connected. Right. We think we have arrived and like that's what we want, but like really it's like it's so
people
like
ride their, like let's say single people will ride their entire identity on being married. People who don't have children ride their entire identity on like, you know, I'm not a mother. I'm not like, and whenever you tie your identity to like one thing, it's like those things are extremely painful. Those are all real experiences. Like everyone's gonna have different challenges. If it's someone's sick, right? Their entire identity is I'm not well. Like,
or in someone's doesn't have money. It's like their entire identity is like
poor.
Right. I don't have, and other people do, and they're all living their life, and I can't live mine. Right. But like, no, you totally can. Like,
you shift your focus onto the things that you do have,
then you come from a place of such gratitude and positivity that it just propels more positivity back to you. It's like it boomerangs.
Yeah.
It just will boomerang right back into your life. And like the more you focus on what you don't have, the more you won't have.
Yeah.
The more you focus on what you have, the more you will have.
And there are times that it does happen, even meaning it's not always like that clear. There are times where people are very focused on that one thing and they still get married and they still, it's not like, I wouldn't say it's that black and white.
I felt like it was very black and white.
But maybe it's like the partner that they end up picking.
Right, or like, or it's something
they settle.
Something will boomerang back out. Meaning, when you're in the certain frequency that you're vibrating at, then that's what will come back to you, right? So if you, let's say even for business, right? Okay, let me take it personal. When I started doing art, I wasn't feeling worthy of where I wanted to be. In terms of what I was selling my paintings for, right? So I was selling for a price that was beyond my vibration frequency. So even if I made the sale, a customer would have a complaint, or they would return, or there was a problem, or it would break, or because it would match me back exactly where I was at.
Yeah.
I came first, not the price. Then once I upgraded my frequency and I became more worthy of who I was as an internal person, then the problems went away. Like then it worked and I didn't have to give a refund because then it matched. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So I really think it does happen very quickly, and either you'll see it or you won't right away, but the energy is the same.
Right.
It's your vibration, your frequency, your worth, your value. There's a vibration scale. It's like, then the low end, it's like, unhappy emotions, a lot of like resentment, hate, anger. There's like and then it's like neutrality, and then it's like you're okay, happy, dreamy, excited, and then the highest ones is like love, and then authenticity is the highest. Once you can get up there to love, then you're godly, and then you have the most incredible things coming into your life. But the goal is to either get there and then stay there. And then we can fluctuate throughout the day. You're not going to always be all the way up there.
Right.
But like the more you can get there, the more you can just have so much positivity coming into your life. And then the practice is to stay there.
If you go like into woke culture, like that's like the word, that's what it is at its core, is that each person in it is identifying themselves by one thing. And when you tie your identity to one thing, you're going to be miserable. Like that's really what it is. It's like if you're just that one thing and people don't accept that one thing,
you're going to be miserable on a physical level. You're going to be miserable on a mental level, and then of course you're going to be miserable on a spiritual level.
Yeah.
It all ties together. But obviously you're going to be miserable because that's all you're seeing and all you're thinking about. Then you're just not. You're not satisfied. And mentally it's all consuming you, so like you can't have rest. And then spiritually it's just going to keep coming back to you, the misery. So for sure, if you're focused on one thing and it ties your identity, like that's just not the pathway to happiness.
I remember I wanted to be a fashion designer from the time I was like 12, and I was very proud of it. Like I didn't hide it, and in the base ecosystem, that's not like a typical career path at all. And when I was in seminary, I met with like a gadol, and I asked him, Shaila, like, is it okay for me to like pursue this career path? Because like I'm gonna ultimately have to be exposed to things that are not, super ideal. And he's like, if Hashem gave you a talent or a calling, like you have to use it. And when you don't use it and you're not using like the tools that Hashem gave you, that's why people are depressed.
That's exactly why people are depressed. I always say that because when you're not living in alignment, then your soul is crying out and you're going to feel depressed. Yeah. Like depression's not, there's nothing wrong with you, and depression's not something that's like, oh my gosh, it's going to cripple you, and it's not this ticket to victimhood, and it's not a ticket to say this is why I can't succeed. It's just not true. Right. Depression is literally a call from your soul to go and do something else. Yeah. That's really what it is. You have to move and you have to listen, and and it starts out as a whisper, and then it gets louder and louder and louder until you have debilitating depression. It's just a misalignment. Yeah. That's all it is.
So that's literally what he said. Like if you have a calling, it's literally when someone wants something, it's because it's like in their future.
Exactly. And whatever you desire desires you.
And he's like, if you have that like talent, he said, find the most kosher way possible. But like, and for me, I realized like since then, it doesn't have to be clothing. Like it's much more just about being able to be creative. It can even be creative thinking, but it's just about like being able to use that side of my brain in a lot of different ways. But when I don't use it, I'm miserable, and I don't understand. There's so many people that I know that don't that are just so not tapped into like what their natural like proclivities are. It's hard to find.
But then I feel so bad, and I have so much compassion for people that are misaligned. But at the same time,
But how do you? The question is, how do you find out what aligns you?
it's where you feel alive. It's usually what you're good at.
Right.
And
but not everyone is good at something, right? Like
no, people have interests.
They have
Everyone
interests,
has interests.
but they have to have even grew up in a home or been in an environment that encouraged them to explore those interests. If they've never explored those interests, they don't know what their interests are, and they're just like, oh, I'm just not talented. I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't do that.
I think life will just show you. Meaning, like, yeah, maybe that's the circumstance, but everyone has a divinity within them and their own unique soul path. And life will show you the way. And it's like different things come up along the way. You could either jump on the train or not. And there's like different opportunities.
You have to notice those doors opening.
You have to notice, and you have to be a little bit thoughtful and in touch with yourself to say, wow, like you have to allow yourself to think and desire and dream, because a lot of people don't even want to open up that side of their brain just in case they're get
scared.
disappointed.
It's like skydiving for them.
Right. So like it's like, oh, like I even scrolled on Instagram the other day. And I scrolled quickly, and I'm like scrolling, and then something caught my brain, and I could have kept scrolling. Then I'm like, wait, I think I saw something. I like that. And then I scrolled back. So it's kind of like that. Like, wait, let me explore what I just felt.
Yeah.
Like, not just keep scrolling. Let me think about this for a second. What was that? So giving yourself permission to feel, giving yourself permission to think, and giving yourself permission to dream and desire. Like, hold on, let me just think about this, because that made me feel good. I liked what she has. And not being jealous of someone for what they have. If someone has something that's giving you a feeling of desire, explore it. It should give you a feeling of inspiration.
Yeah.
That might be a direction that you should pursue. Might be a train door that's opening for you to jump onto.
Right.
And like then the more, it's all internal, it's all mind. So the more you think about it, the more life opportunities along that path are going to open.
Right.
So I definitely think that no one's limited, and no one is like screwed or not lucky.
A.B. Rottenberg's song, like Ankle?
No.
There's like, he has this song.
I don't like theirs.
I love A.B. Rottenberg.
I know, I'm doing a song, I don't know.
I love A.B. Rottenberg, but he has this song about like, there was like a Yankol was like the town like Amhara. It's like he didn't know anything about Torah or anything like that. Everything he tried to do, he did wrong. And he wanted to go to yeshiva. He wanted to become a big Talmid Chacham, and everyone was like literally laughing in his face. Like you literally wear leather shoes at Yom Kippur. Like you can't be a Talmid Chacham. Like you don't know anything. That's the song. And he's in shul one day, and the Rav of the shul, I guess, had fallen asleep, and he was literally like crying, and he's like, Hashem, I just want to learn, like let me learn. And so the Rav decided to send him to yeshiva because he heard how much he wanted it. And he came back and he was like a huge Talmid Chacham. Like that's the story. Like he came back a bunch of years later and he became a huge Talmid Chacham.
Everyone's destiny is within them. I also think that when you open up someone's birth chart, like you see people that are like literally living their birth chart, and then there are people that like are totally not in alignment, and you're like, wow, like you are so not what your birth chart says. Is the birth chart wrong, or are you just not living the way you're supposed to be living, right?
Yeah.
So like we all have destinies that we can get onto, and the train comes at different points of our life. You can hop on, or you can choose not to.
Another A.B. Rottenberg song.
Right, right, exactly. But like, that one I know.
Yeah.
But like it's really like that. And then the people who give an excuse like, oh, I didn't realize, or you could just say you're scared. We're all scared, you know? Like fear is a really big deal.
Like if you're used to it, like I happen to naturally be a risk taker. So I was used to stepping things in that are outside of my comfort zone. It's more of my personality. Not everyone's like that. And like it's a scary thing to do.
I get scared. I get really scared. But like then there's the thing. Do you want to look back at your life and see what you didn't do, or see like all the things, you know,
regret is like the worst thing.
Right. Go back to the end. Like play backwards.
That's what like they say that's what Gehenna is.
Right.
Like if a person's there, like Hashem will literally replay.
Right. Like I could have, should have, would have.
Yeah.
Like that's what that guy on Instagram, his comment, like, oh, you should learn Rav Dessler. Like that's how I felt when I was listening to him. Like he was giving himself an excuse to be living in his fear.
Right.
Like to or laziness. It's fear or laziness. It's one or the other. Like call a spade, you know?
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry, but like a lot of people just don't want to do the work.
Also, they're comfortable in where they are, even if it's miserable.
So comfort is not comfortable. comfort is knowledge, meaning whatever I know is what I'm going to feel comfortable in.
Right.
And fear of the unknown, even though fear could be better, like that's an A.B.
Right,
Reinberg song
right.
that he was like stuck in the end. I don't know, like he got the ticket and he was like a pauper and he got like a first class ticket or something. I remember.
That's Ride to Train?
I don't know.
That Ride to Train?
Maybe that is.
It's
Yeah.
the song.
So like, yeah, fear, you can get so much success, but the success is so unknown, so it's so scary.
Right. Anything, there's so many things that are the unknown.
Right. So it's all scary.
Yeah.
But like, if you realize that you cannot fail, and that really God is not outside of you, God is not in the sky,
Right.
like either like giving you the like okay or not okay. Hashem
Right.
is inside, so He just wants to see that you trust Him enough to go. Like like you take the first step, you go into the water, you try, and then the second you try, I'm right there,
Right.
because I'm literally inside of you. So it's like I think of it like a bubble, and you're in the bubble,
Right.
and then as you go, the bubble lights up. But if you stay still, the bubble stops, and then it's dark.
I think
so you have to go, and then it gets light. Do you get it?
Totally. And I think what people do is they turn that first step into a question of morality.
Oh my God!
That's where they get. That's where they get stuck.
I don't know what Hashem wants from me. I don't know. I'm like, what do you want?
Want,
What
yes.
do you want? And it's like, no. But you're not really such a from Jew. If you don't think about Hashem, like, what is Hashem? Like, what do you want?
Right.
Like,
it's like they turn the fear. Basically, what they're comfortable with is that transactional way of interacting with Hashem, and they want to make a step that is outside their comfort zone. Plus, so
it's
what
such
they do
an
is they just fall back onto that like.
Oh, I hate it.
I've been there so many times.
Really?
Like, yeah.
I've never
yeah.
been there.
What's the right thing to do here? Because I was miserable. Like I wasn't happy, but it was like, do I take that step or not? Like,
right.
do I?
What do you want? And it's almost like if you can't
And I was
play,
like, how do I know what the right thing is? Like,
if
no
you
one's
can't
gonna
play,
tell me.
no one's gonna
and
tell
there's
you.
no right or wrong answer.
There's no right or wrong. It's just a
and
fork in
then
the road.
you could get into that loop of like,
But
okay,
you have to
I'm
go
being
backwards.
selfish.
So
I'm
go
being
backwards.
selfish.
What will make me feel better looking back in my life? What would I have told myself as an older person looking back? Should I or shouldn't have I? And once you can go backwards and play that
Right.
old person in your brain, you always have the answer.
Right.
Always. And it's not God, it's you. And God wants what you want.
Right.
God wants what you want, period. Like, what's the thing? Tiftach li petach, right? Like,
Yeah,
you make a small opening and God will open the rest. So, like, what is God telling you what to open? No, it just says make an opening. It's whatever you decide to open.
Yeah.
That's what will be.
Right. But that's people are in that space of like, it's not up to me what I decide to open. I'm waiting for a sign from Hashem, and then
you'll never find it because then you're chasing the tail between
and
your
you're just
toes.
stuck. Yeah.
Because then you're going around in a cycle.
That's what Hashem wants you to do. Hashem wants you to
right.
take that
I'm gonna look
step
for the
forward.
sign, and Hashem says I'm gonna keep waiting for you to like, figure it out. And you're like, I'm looking for the sign. So you're not getting anywhere. You're literally going around in circles.
Right.
Yeah, I have people like that, and I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can relate to it because I've been there. So like I can relate to it. I've been there, but I also know that no one can open up anyone else's brain into that thing. Like they have to come into it in their own. Like I've tried talking to people.
So that's where mazel comes in. That's the only thing I think is that you have to have mazel to have mazel.
Right.
That's it. If you need mazel to be able to open up your brain. Once your brain is open, once you have that key unlocked, that's it.
Right. But you can choose. There are situations where you can choose to open up your brain or not, and there are missed opportunities. It's never too late, but there are missed opportunities to like open up your brain. But like that's pretty much every challenge that we have that Hashem gives us. Anything that happens, that's what it is. It's an opportunity to open our brains or not.
Exactly. And so it's opportunity to become conscious.
Yeah.
It's the opportunity to become one with yourself and then one with God.
Yeah.
It's just elevating your consciousness to be like, wow, like, okay, fine. What's real? Where am I? What's reality?
Yeah.
I think we're good.
Yeah.